My name's Mark Riddington. I'm the venue coordinator and project officer for the Abbeydale Picture House. So yeah, we host a really diverse range of events. So just in the last 3 weeks we've had a 3-day film festival which showed a double bill of Studio Ghibli films, both on 35mm film projectors. We had a 2-day beer festival which had 20 breweries and well over 100 different beers for people to choose from. So there's like 800 people a day coming through the doors for that. We've had comedy nights, we host silent cinema nights with live orchestral kind of accompaniments. Yeah, it's really diverse range of stuff. So the Abbeydale Picture House was opened in December 1920, so we're coming up to the centenary of the building. When it opened it was called the Picture Palace because of its kind of scale and its grandeur, and it was seen as really luxurious, and it was the largest cinema in the city at the time. So it would seat 1,600 people across 2 floors. Yeah, it was all deep reds and creams and velvet seating. Yeah, it was quite a stunning thing. It was used by different kind of groups as a cinema and also as a theatrical venue up until 1975 when it closed. It was then subsequently used as a office furniture showroom, which was a fairly criminal use of the building, until the mid-80s, I believe, and then subsequently a number of different kind of charity groups or kind of friends of groups have set about trying to start the long process of restoration of the building after it was left derelict for 30 years approximately, give or take. Yeah, it's got a lot of history and we're just kind of like trying to rekindle some of that history and bring life back into the building. So in terms of the restoration, our plan is to do a full restoration to the building to kind of like bring back the grandeur that was expected of it in the 1920s. There's been a number of groups have done work on it up until this point when CAD's Trust took over. So when the doors were first opened in the 2000s, it was full of just stuff that had been kind of abandoned, you know, from urban explorers, people kind of finding their way in. A lot of pigeons were in here. Bits of the roof were really badly damaged. There was a lot of water coming in. So there's been a huge amount of work done to the kind of like real nuts and bolts of the building, which is kind of like the starting point. We're doing work to kind of make it more accessible as a venue, to improve the gear, to improve the facilities, things like that. And once we kind of got it running as like a really regular event space with lots of people coming through the door, we're going to start work on the more cosmetic stuff, so kind of restoring the plaster work, like repainting it, undoing a lot of the kind of real physical and visible damage that's happened to it over the last kind of 3 decades. So one thing that we found is that the kind of expectations in health and safety in 1920 when the building opened were really radically different to what they are now. So for example, to make this into the huge venue that we want it to be, the number of fire escapes that are in and kind of like accessible ramps for people with mobility issues, that sort of thing needs to be taken into consideration. But when it's a listed building, you can't just start kind of knocking through walls, you have to take everything into real consideration. So it's kind of like, if you want to make progress, there's kind of like a lot of stuff you need to go through, like a lot of bureaucratic kind of stuff that you need to go through and a lot of rules you need to follow. You can't just kind of get on and do it. You need to be really considered in your approach to the restoration, but also in your approach to making the space safe and accessible for as many people as possible. And it's about balancing that kind of thing in place. It's a really amazing building. I mean, coming to work and opening the doors and stepping into this room is quite incredible. I think the building's got a really fascinating history just from the moment it opened. It's been kind of like quite a progressive place for the city. Yeah, I mean, just the range of events that we do as well, just coming into work and there's being something different in this space and people utilising it in really interesting ways really kind of creative ways in predominantly quite a community-focused sense. I think that's really, really important, and I find that really interesting about my role here.